Good morning, everybody. Hope that you have all had a fantastic week. We are now into the month of March. It's hard to believe. The first Friday of March. Happy Friday to all of you. We are back with another edition of Edmentum, Illinois Presents. And today we are speaking with Joe Mullikin. He is the principal at Highland Elementary School in Meridian District 223. He's not only the principal at the elementary school, but he also wears a ton of different hats at the district level. He is on Twitter at Joe Mullikin 86, 3,500-ish followers or so. So definitely would recommend that you check him out. Joe, how are you today, sir?
Hey, I'm great. It's we've waited about 716 days to have an educational environment again that looks like this, and so we now, in our district, we have 49 days left with kids, and I'm excited that we've waited 716 days for this opportunity, and now we get to take advantage of it for another 49 days with kids, and see what we can do to make school amazing again.
Absolutely, Joe. Yeah, and we've been talking here before we hit the record button on this segment. Meredith and I have been talking with you a little bit about things that you guys have been talking about this school year. You mentioned 49 days left, so that means that there's been so many already here at the start of this school year, getting us into the month of March. So, Joe, what are some things that you guys have been talking about, at the building level, at the district level, as you've been going through school year 21-22?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things this school year for us has been that I'm not sure that we expected this full school year to be like this. And so I think we've had lots of conversations about, the difficulties of continuing to teach through periods of uncertainty. I think about, David Rock's SCARF model, when that status and that certainty and that autonomy is if any of those are infringed upon, then it can cause high stress, cause crisis. And, over the past 2 years, teachers have gone from being heroes to being zeros. We've gone from, kind of being our own system to being, kind of a ping pong back and forth for, politics in the state of Illinois. And is those things, I think, for teachers have gone on there, that sense of certainty, that sense of status, some of those things have kind of continued to erode a bit. And so we've had a lot of conversations about how we can make sure that in our sphere of influence and in our circle of influence, what are we doing to try and make sure that we are still communicating the appreciation, still communicating the belief in the staff and the teachers that we have, and continuing to remind them that on a daily basis, whatever they have to bring is always going to be more than enough for the kids, and giving them permission to bring what they have to bring every day to the classroom.
Joe, there's a lot of talk out there right now about teachers leaving the profession. They're burnt out. I'm receiving emails from different schools saying, the teachers have just had it with certain students, and, they need help. What are you doing in your district or your school right now, to try and support teachers and ensure that they are feeling emotionally supported in these uncertain times?
So I think some of that starts with going back to what our expectation is of educators in general. And I think at times we have set expectations, or teachers have set expectations for themselves, that they have to be perfect all the time, that if they don't have a perfect day, for some reason they failed the children. And I think I know I said this off camera before we were recording. I'm not sure that COVID has caused anything new. I think that COVID has shined a flashlight on a number of things that existed before that we didn't do anything about. And I think one of those areas is that we push teachers to get better as educators. We're pushing them. We want to get 5%, 10% better as a teacher. But right now, especially when we're pushing that, it is at the expense of getting 2% worse as a spouse, getting 2% worse as a friend, 2% worse as a parent. And that's unsustainable. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this, hemorrhaging of educators moving out, is that, the universal feedback has been like, I can't continue to do this and maintain mental health and maintain my life outside of school. And we have to remember that this is a job, that this isn't what defines someone. And so what we've talked about a lot is that we want to get 1% better as a human, 1% better as a person. And in doing that, we're going to get better as educators. We're going to get better as teachers, because we will have the opportunity for ourselves to have a greater sense of efficacy, not only as teachers, but as humans. And I think that then as a leader comes with action on my end, that I have to make sure that I am getting to know my staff to a level that I know how I can support them, that I am seeking out opportunities to understand them to a depth and to a level that allows me to support both them as an educator and to support them socially, emotionally, with things going on outside of school. And we bring a lot to school. And I think at times the belief has been, check it at the door, just check your baggage at the door and come in and fake it till you make it. And when we continue to perpetuate that, we erode the sense of the personhood and the sense of belonging that our teachers have within the buildings that they're in. So we should bring who we are day in and day out and recognize that, like, we're not going to be perfect every day. But if we bring the best that we have for kids that day, that's always going to be more than enough. And I remember at the start of the 2021 school year, I sent out a letter to all of my staff and a bracelet. And on the inside of the bracelet, it just said, "You are enough." And it came with a little card that said that. And it's, walking around the building now, like I see them on cups or see them on desks and it's, trying to continually get that reminder to them that no matter where you are today, you're more than enough for kids, and trying to continue to support that belief.
Joe, are there any other, specific strategies that you have used? You mentioned getting to know your staff, sending out the bracelet and things like that. Are there any other strategies that you have used that, other schools or districts might be able to, learn from and begin to implement in their school to make some change?
Yeah, so I think one of the best things that's happened this school year, best and worst things, is I started the school year and I had COVID and was incredibly sick and was out for 3 months and didn't come back into work until the first week of October. But the building continued to move forward. And as the building continued to move forward, teachers began to take on leadership roles. Our faculty meetings are largely led by staff. And I think when the same psychology that we have for empowering students within the classroom doesn't go away when we become adults, right? That idea of, looking at Maslow's hierarchy and getting to self-actualization as the peak, that idea doesn't change when we become adults. So I think one of the best things that's happened this year, and it forced it to happen probably quicker than it may have, because I think, like many leaders in any industry, I sometimes struggle with wanting to have the control or make sure that I have the steering wheel at times. And it forced me to let go. And again, the only way that at times we know that something's going to be fine when we let go is to let go and see what happens. And they did an incredible job. And so at the faculty meetings now, we focus on assessment, on a monthly basis. So we have a couple teachers who talk about a best practice and assessment, and do a breakout. And then we have our culture team that will do a booster video and talk about one of the 7 habits. So we're a Leader in Me school. We teach the 7 habits from Stephen Covey's book to all of our kids. Nothing's cuter than hearing a 4-year-old say that they're synergizing. But our teachers will do a culture booster on one of the habits and have conversations, and then they'll pull one of the components in Danielson and have but all of that is being led by staff. And I think, we all know, 1, that will increase and improve efficacy within themselves. 2, the best way to learn something is to teach something. And so it's increasing the knowledge and the mastery for those that are leading it. And the other part too is if there are any principals out there who think that your teachers want to hear from you more than they want to hear from their colleagues and their peers, you got to adjust that mindset, because they don't. I think we all know that. And so providing that opportunity for your teachers and for staff, without adding necessarily to their plate, but providing that opportunity and providing that sense of empowerment, I think has gone a long way for our staff to continue to build culture, and for them to continue to move through what has been incredibly abnormal and uncertain times. And I think, the one other thing too is the sense of the sense of steady resolve. When my staff, especially in the height of, some of the waves over the school year, whether it was the wave that came through in, November, December, January, whether it was, earlier in the school year when we were starting that when a teacher calls and says that they have a sick kid at home, or they found out that they have to quarantine because of something, and they know that the building is short subs, the last thing that they need to hear from their leader, from their administrator, is panic or uncertainty. What they need to hear is that the place that they're going to be over the next few days is exactly where they should be, because family comes before everything else. And that sense of steadiness, that sense of maintaining positivity and reminding them that this is where you're supposed to be right now. We've got your back, and you don't need to feel any sense of guilt for being there. I think, again, that's something that begins to reduce that stress, that can reduce that anxiety, and anything that I can do to continue to help to keep that stress and anxiety that is at a level that's tolerable for them, and it's within my sphere or circle of influence on it, I think is an incredibly important thing to do. So again, it's, I think the two biggest things this year that I think have helped are, that continued empowerment of teachers, and just the steady resolve of we've never not covered classes. We've never not been able to teach kids. We're going to find a way. Is it going to look the same way it always has? Probably not, and that's okay. But we've never just had a classroom of kids sit with no one there. We've always figured it out. We figured it out before. We're going to figure it out again. And that's my responsibility, and that's my weight to carry, not theirs. And so ensuring that they know that monkey isn't on their shoulder, that it's at the place where it should be, I think is an incredibly important thing to continue to remind them of, and to continue to provide for them.
Joe, a lot of great things there to unpack, just on the idea of leadership in general, but then also sharing that leadership, empowering teachers, thinking about culture and taking care of one another and taking care of ourselves. And I think that you've shared with us so many lessons and thoughts that you've learned this year. And we are really appreciative, Joe, of that and for your time. He is Joe Mullikin. He is from Meridian District 223, the principal at Highland Elementary. Again, follow him on Twitter if you haven't done so already. And once again, Joe, thank you so very much for your time. We wish you all the best for the last 49 days of school, and we hope to catch up with you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.